Hey everybody, it's Josh. Sorry for the huge delay in updates to my knee recovery, but life happens. So I did want to, however, meet with my promise of doing a few more updates to my patellar realignment surgery, technically called a tibial tubercle transfer, which is basically where they take the portion of your patellar knee joint, which I can demonstrate here. This bone right here that goes over the knee, or the whole tendon here, they take it and they cut it off and they move it over so that your kneecap tracks correctly. So for those of you that have not tuned into my previous videos, I've had some very severe knee abnormalities I've dealt with most of my life. And my left knee in particular had a really bad one where a while back my kneecap was physically sitting over here, and that's where it tracked permanently all the time. And it's been like that for about a decade. And then over the course of the last 1 year, it got even worse and was very severe, and had to have immediate surgery to get corrected, because it got to the point where I couldn't even bend my knee very much at all. So I'm 5.5 months out right now of my knee recovery. So it's been going great. I've been getting, as you can see, I'm walking around, have plenty of bend in my knee, nothing an issue of there. I'm definitely not full flexion or knee bend yet. There's still quite a bit more I have to do to get there, but I wanted to give a quick demonstration of that. And I also want to talk really briefly about the things that I'm doing to get my full recovery, and things that have been an issue or have not, just so if you're going through something similar, you know what to expect, or if to be encouraging, or if you just have some questions as to what you're going through, if it's something someone else has had too. So I'm going to sit on this table here and I'm going to show you just some of the basic things that I can do now. So as you can see, knee extensions are pretty much standard for me now. I can do knee extensions, I can do this all day. Strength wise, I don't have a ton of strength still. I don't have a lot of power, and I don't have the ability to put a ton of force behind it. Last time I had it measured, I think I was able to lift somewhere around 60 pounds in my knee extension. And so that's not full strength yet. Here's the front view of it. Like I said before, my kneecap was way over here. As you can imagine, that would be really problematic. I still have a lot of popping and cracking in my knee. That may or may not stay forever. That's the scar tissue and adhesion still breaking apart, and scar tissue that's still kind of floating around in there. The more dexterity I get, the more likely that will go away over time, as it just kind of breaks down and washes out of my knee. But it was a pretty invasive surgery for me, so I could have that for life. Things I'm doing for recovery, and I have been doing ever since I've been given the go-aheads. I've been doing physical therapy. I did physical therapy for 3 days a week for 9 weeks. A lot of stretching, a lot of biking, trying to get mobility and dexterity back. While there, I got successfully to about 110 degrees where my knee was getting. It had a good flow and tracking and range of motion, which was good. And then right now, as you saw just now, and on a regular basis, I can get somewhere around 120 degrees of bend, and I can push myself to 130, 140, but it's really hard. Some people by this point have gotten full range of motion back where they could pet 140 plus. However, because my situation was so rare, my knee was so out of place, and it had been so many years that I've been dealing with issues, my recovery is definitely taking a little bit longer, and my doctor is actually pretty happy about that, because he wants the recovery to be slow, steady, and healthy, as opposed to quick and all of a sudden I'm bending my knee real far, but who knows what's damaged in the process. So that's okay with him, and I'm okay with it too, as long as I'm making steady progress. So I did a lot of physical therapy. I stretch every day still. I bike 4 to 6 days a week, somewhere between 30 to 60 minutes just for stretching. That's indoor biking. I do outdoor bike a little bit now too, but I don't do a lot of power and hills and standing bike because I just can't yet. And I'm going to be resetting all this because on August 31st, I actually go in for my right knee to have the same surgery done on that. That recovery is probably going to go a lot smoother, since it's not half as even a fraction of as bad as my left knee is. But it's definitely going to be going back through the process, which I will also do another video post to follow that process as well. As far as general things go, in regard to exercise routines, fitness, and things of that nature, I do weight-bearing leg training twice a week now, usually Mondays and Fridays. That gives me 3 days in between it on the Monday break to 2 days on the weekend for the Monday workout. So, I'll do my Friday workout, which is really grueling, take 2 days off the weekend from my leg workouts, and I'll do other things. And then I'll go back Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the next break, and I'll have that 3-day break in the middle of that. And then I'll get back to the next workout. I could do 3 workouts a week if I wanted to. However, it was recommended by my therapist and just from general training knowledge to only do 2, because I do a pretty exerting workout routine. I do squats, I do single leg press, I do both leg press in a wide stance and a close stance, and I do hip adductions, abductions, and I do leg raises, and I do horse kicks. Plus bike. So it's pretty grueling routine I put myself through, and my goal is pretty severe hypertrophy of the muscles to try to build muscle strength back in my leg, because right now it's pretty weak, and my leg muscle mass is very, very limited, and it's going to be like that for a long time until I can really get a lot of strength and training back behind me. But with my right knee about to go through that surgery, I'm a good year and a half out of that. So these videos are going to keep coming until I've reached the point where my complete health is back, my legs are back, and what I'm hoping to be able to do at the end of this is show everybody that I can do a lot of things that have been a struggle for a long time, maybe even run. I can actually lightly jog now, but I'm careful with my left knee, and my right knee really doesn't accept it too well, so I have to be careful with that too. So that's the basic rundown of it. In terms of if there's any issues, I have one issue that happens, and what that is that when I bend my knee past like that 120 degree level, and I'm trying to push to the 130, 140, I get a pretty good amount of pain in a very specific spot on my knee, and I'll show you where that is real quick. So here's the knee that was surgery, that I had surgery on. That pain is really right here, right in there. And actually, I have no feeling in this whole area. This is all numb. But right there, when I do it, has a lot of pain. The doctor said that it could be normal. They did a lot of work in there. It's also because my kneecap tracked so far out of the groove for so long that they may have had some nerves get kind of raw or damaged in that area, and I could be feeling those nerves. He said it could take a long time for that to stop and subside. And to a degree, it may never subside, and I may have to deal with that, but that's also because of my really rare condition. But I'm going to keep fighting through it. I'm going to keep stretching, keep building the muscle in my leg, because the more muscle I get in my leg, your legs and your body, as many of you know if you're watching these videos and going through this, that our joints are very much like a shock and something else. It's not the component itself that absorbs all of the stress, it's all the support around it that really does it. And that's the same with our knee joints. Our muscle tissue is what takes a lot of the pressure off our knee joint. I wanted to briefly talk about squats, because I just mentioned that in my workouts I do squats, and I'm talking the real deal standing barbell squats. There's a lot of mixed views. Some people feel that they're really bad for you, some people that feel that they're plenty good for you. Between all of my research, talking to my therapist, talking to the doctor, the best that I feel, and in my opinion, is if you're doing good form, you're jointing at the hips and the knees, you're not putting pressure on the spine, you're also not putting too much pressure on your patellas by doing bad form and leaning forward. It's really a hip engaging exercise as well as the legs, but it's not supposed to be knee straining. And if you're doing the correct form and putting the pressure where you should on the legs and following all that, and you're not going crazy heavy in weight, it's very healthy for your legs. It's going to get all those muscles engaged, and it's really a critical point of my healing process, as well as all of the stabilizer exercises like single leg step downs, side steps, things like that. I do a lot of hip exercises because all of those muscles really play a role. So your calves. A lot of people don't know that your calf muscles actually wrap up behind your knee, and they act as a support for your knee as well. they're all critical. You've got to work out your calves, you got to work out your quads, you got to work out your hamstrings, you got to work out your glutes, your hips. All that stuff has to be strong to support your legs. That's why all those muscles are there. That's why they're so big, and they're such a pivotal portion of holding our bodies up. And even though my recovery is going slow and my strength is very limited in my left knee, and it will be for a long period of time, I can't be more happy with the healing. I was able to go to Disneyland this last weekend with my children, and we spent 2 days there. And anyone that in there knows you walk miles upon miles upon miles. Some people just can't handle it. They have first aid sections for people that can't handle that kind of stuff. And I carried my 6-year-old daughter on my back and a 35-pound, maybe even 40-pound backpack on. So I had about 75 pounds that I was carrying around for most of that trip, walking all those miles up and down hills, up and down a few steps, and I did great, and it felt good, and my knee was good at the end of it. And even now I feel good. My knee's recovering well. My calves and my feet are more tired than my knee is, which I think is fantastic. But now is just keeping that training going, keeping that stretching going in my left leg. My right knee, when I have that surgery and I have to put my immobilizer brace on my right knee, that could very well limit what I can do for training in my left knee. But in general, I think it's going to really end up helping in the long run. If anything, what it's going to do is going to force me to utilize my left leg more. And I'm going to be working out my left leg a little more frequently, just because it'll have to support my right leg being in that brace. And it may encourage me to get past some of those things. I wouldn't have done the procedure any sooner than this, because I'd be worried that my left knee would have some issues. But what anyone, and actually I should also share that over the last couple of months, not so much lately, but earlier on, like right after that 3-month point, I had my points where my left knee would feel like it just wants to give out, not twist or dislocate, but just the muscles and the joint itself just wanted to fall, and it was very concerning. But it honestly, again, I did some research, talked to my doctor, talked to my physical therapist, and that's normal. So if that's happening to you, it's normal. Don't panic. Your knee just went through a major process. The doctor's saying this whole 3-month deal. So 6 weeks in an immobilizing brace for this procedure for anybody. 3 months, they say, is for full recovery. What I would say about full recovery is they mean full healing of the bone fusion and all that stuff. They don't mean full recovery. If you're an elite athlete that has an amazing, like you had an injury and you're going and you're training full force, you may be able to get back on track close thereafter. But even people that are elite athletes that go through this 5 to 6 months just to get back onto the field or start something, most people, and realistically, even those athletes will tell you that it's going to take a year to 18 months to consider yourself fully where you don't notice it. It's back to what's relatively normal for you, even to 2 years. And that's what I'm mentally geared for, and that's what I'm committed to in my training. I love weight training. I've done it for years anyway, and I'm going to continue to do it because I have very specific fitness goals for myself. One of which is, after this procedure, having pretty sizable legs on me to prove that you can recover from this stuff. But it's a process, and I need to be prepared for the fact that I'm going to have a few, 6 months, a year. I'm not having major expectations for myself. I'm just saying I'm doing the workouts per my doctor's instruction, my therapist's instruction. I'm following it to a T, and I'm going to continue to do that indefinitely until I am fully recovered. And then I'm going to stay on all these extra exercises for strengthening my legs. One of those things is yoga. Yoga is huge. Stabilizer muscles are a huge part of this recovery. So if you're not working on your stabilizer muscles, you're gonna have some struggles. So you got to do all those side exercises. The other thing I would give anyone encouragement on that's going through this is you've gotten people. There's some misled views about this too. You've got to follow what your doctor says. You've got to follow what the therapist says. A lot of people think, oh, they just say that to everybody. I can do my own thing. I can do this, that. I was talking to my orthopedist and I was doing some research, and there's some crazy statistic that says, most people don't follow the instructions of their doctors, and then they're surprised they don't have the correct recovery at the end of it. You've got to follow that stuff to a T. If life is busy and you're like, well, I can't go to therapy because I don't have the time, you're gonna pay the price. You're gonna pay the price afterwards. You may very well be super busy, but make time for this kind of stuff. If you don't make time for it, you're gonna, pay a very drastic price. I've had to, gotta go.